It must be mentioned that after the FOMC, there has not been any kind of reversal in the dollar or the Euro US dollar daily time frames. And this is something that, from my perspective and in my trading, I rely on, which is the overall dominant psychology, that which is reflected on the daily time frame, is not easily reversed unless there is a dramatic shift in market sentiment, typically due to some sort of cataclysmic fundamental discounting, one that was unforeseen, one that was completely undiscounted, and therefore made that radical shift. There's really very little left in the FOMC's arsenal. Quantitative easing 1, 2, 14 is really probably not going to create any kind of significant shift. The dollar index does not have a strong rally, but it has a rally that seems to be maintaining support within the 34 EMA wave. So the recent pullback in the dollar and the resilience we've seen above 79 on that US dollar index has in effect created a ceiling that showed itself with the 34.98, 1.3498 ceiling recently on the Euro US dollar daily, which shows that selling pressure is waiting at 3,500. That's going to be important to keep an eye on as this market continues lower, if it can continue lower, down towards perhaps another test of the 200 period simple, which, even though it was pierced, did manage to create a technical shift and rally prices up higher. Now, whether this was in part due to the 200 period simple, whether it was more so the fact that the dollar index essentially topped out at 81.52, regardless, the downward trend of the 34 EMA wave on this Euro US dollar continues to dictate the intraday time frame directional bias. By directional bias, I mean that if I wanted to take a Euro US dollar swing or momentum trade, even a short-term trend reversal trade, my preference is for trading to the short side. I'm not opposed to short-term buys, but I'd rather limit those to the 5 and 15, which is what we've seen very effectively. We saw this very effectively with between the green setups yesterday during the Monday trading session. Here, again, what has to be remembered is that if you are going to fight the trend of the daily chart, make sure you do so on shorter term time frames. That way, when the dominant trend shows itself again, you're not going to be on the opposite side of what would be considered the overall or most well accepted trend in the market.